Good morning, this is Jeff again, and we're looking at a system design flaw this morning in the accounts receivable system. I've logged in here to the Solution Beacon public instance, which you can find at solutionbeacon.com, and this is a 12.1.2 instance. This happens to be a design flaw that's been in existence for a long time. I think it dates back to when I first started using the system in 11.0.2, so I think this goes back probably almost 10 years, never been fixed by Oracle. So the gist of the issue is we have an automated control, or supposed to be an automated control within the system, or a system-based control that prohibits somebody from entering an adjustment unless they have an approval limit. So an adjustment would be a write-off of a transaction or part of a transaction. So the system setup here, this is the receivables. It's the receivables super user menu, but in this case it's labeled Receivables Vision Operations USA. And the place to get to the approval limits form is Setup Approval Limits. I've got that open here. I'm logged in as my username JH1475, and I'm giving myself an adjustment, a negative adjustment or a positive adjustment from -$1,000 to $1,000. Adjustments are done through what I typically do is through the account details form, which is at the bottom of this. And what I've done is brought up a transaction that has a balance, and I've actually done my first adjustment on that. So in this case, I've done a line type of adjustments, which allows for a partial adjustment. And I'm going to try a second adjustment. The flaw really is that the system allows a user to do multiple adjustments, multiple partial adjustments on a transaction within, as long as it's within their approval limit. So the system should prohibit them from making a second adjustment within their approval limit, but it doesn't. And I'm going to demonstrate a couple things here, just to demonstrate that the system is working properly. I'm going to try a $2,000 adjustment. And this says, as it should, you cannot approve this adjustment because it's not within your approval limit. So what this means, if I hit OK and save this transaction, it'll force somebody else with a higher approval limit to approve this adjustment. So I'm going to cancel this. So the system is working right in that respect. Now, I've already done a $1,000 adjustment. You saw my adjustment limit was $1,000. So if I do anything above $1,000, like $500, it shouldn't allow me to do this adjustment. So what I did is just enter a $500 adjustment, and I saved it. Now the adjustment's recorded, and there is no need to have this go through the approval process. So this is a pretty significant design flaw that Oracle's left out there for a long time. The error adjustment approval process would be maybe not a key control for a lot of companies. Some companies it would be a key control, but certainly a very important control. I can go into another blog talking about mailroom controls and access to cash within the AR environment or the AR department, and how that becomes a critical fraud risk, especially when they're allowed to do adjustment transactions like this. So the really only two options to fix this flaw, if you will, that I know of, is developing a policy that essentially says to your employees, there's a system flaw, they're not allowed to do multiple transactions within their approval limit. Their dollar amount of their approval limit is the maximum they can do in any one transaction, if that's your policy. And then you want to develop some type of report that look for multiple adjustments per transaction, above, maybe compare that to their approval limit to make sure that they haven't violated the intent of the policy, i.e. gone above their approval limit. The other way would potentially to come in this form, in this adjustments form, and do a personalization that limited their ability to do a second adjustment, period, or do a second adjustment within their approval limit. So hopefully this helps identify a critical flaw. From if you're an IT manager, you should address this with your whoever's designing your controls. If you're an internal auditor, this would be a great audit review or audit finding potentially is to review whether or not IT management address this flaw and make a recommendation to fill this gap. So hopefully this helps. I'll keep putting out these blogs as I come up with some other ideas, and you have a great day. Thanks.